Hi, I'm Chris, and welcome to our virtual Celtic celebration. And we are going to, first of all, thank some of our sponsors, and that is Arizona Commission on the Arts. Without our sponsors, we couldn't do this, so we are so grateful. Flagstaff Arts Council, Arizona Community Foundation, City of Flagstaff, and Coconino County. And I wanted to introduce Jocelyn. She is going to show us how to prepare for any event, especially something like St. Patrick's Day, where it's handy to have something green. So, Jocelyn, show us what you're doing.
So first you're gonna need some 22 gauge wire. I chose silver. And then you're gonna need some pliers that have a rounder tip. And then you're gonna need some pliers that can cut. And then lastly, you will need your beads. I use small little green ones.
And the size of the hole is important. It has to fit in the wire, right?
Yeah. You just have to make sure that the hole is big enough.
Okay.
So if you're starting out with a new thing and it comes with a little bent edge, you can just cut that off. Set that aside. If you don't have the pliers that cut, you can use scissors, but it is a lot more dangerous, so be careful.
Good to know.
You're gonna take about an arm length, like put your arms out and that should be the length that your wire should be. And then you're just gonna cut it, set that aside. And then I find it best to straighten out the wire, and you can do that by putting it on the edge of the table. So now you have a nice straight piece.
Kind of.
Kind of. So you're gonna take your bead, you're just gonna thread it through to the middle. I got my string at my local craft store. And so you're just gonna take it, leave about a couple inches of space, and then you're gonna measure it around the finger that you want it. You're gonna put it right in the middle and just wrap. I like to go once, but depending on the thickness of your band, you can go twice or even 3 times. Then you're gonna do the same with the other wire. So now I have this.
It's not looking like a ring quite yet.
No, so you're just gonna slide it off your finger carefully and squish it all together. You're going to make sure that all of the parts of the band are equal so that you don't have any wonky band.
Lunky, that's the word?
Wonky.
Wonky. I like it.
Next, you're gonna take one of your wires, wrap it around, make sure it's straight,
It's starting to look like a ring.
and then you're gonna twist it around the bead.
And that kind of anchors it.
Yes, that anchors it and keeps it from moving around. I only go around twice because it can get really, really thick if you go around more. Then, after that, you're gonna try and hold that in place.
Because the bead's a little slippery.
Yeah. And it likes to come off of the ring like that. So you're gonna hold it down and start wrapping under and over to start creating that pattern. You see right here, it's very uneven at the bottom, so I'm just gonna pinch it.
It's looking very good.
And then you're just gonna keep repeating the twisting step and try and make sure that your circles are as close together as possible.
So how do you fix it? Like, what if there's one
That goes
loop
like this?
around? Yeah, kind of like it.
So if
it's
it
gonna
goes
come
like
out
this,
okay?
you're going to want to just either undo it and push it over, or you can just try and move it with your fingernail.
So that's a pretty soft wire.
Yeah, if you go, or for beginners, I would suggest a 22 or 24 gauge. But if you're a little more advanced and the tougher wires work better for you, you could do 20 gauge. And it really doesn't matter what gauge you use, but it depends on how thick you want, like your wrapping to be in things. If it starts to move to one side, just gently bend it so that it stays in place. I go about 8 to 10 wraps, and then I stop. You can go as many as you want. It really doesn't matter.
And you have to do that on both sides of the bead.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so now that I got to my end point where I want to stop, I'm going to take my pliers and just cut as close to the base as you can. Then you're going to take your rounder ones and just clamp it down.
And what does that do?
That makes sure that you don't poke yourself.
Oh, the end can
Yeah.
get pokey sometimes.
Yeah, the end can get very pokey. And your ring will not look completely perfect the first time you make it, so don't be discouraged if it turns out looking weird.
Now
So
you're going-
again, for this side, you're gonna wrap it around and then just go around twice. And then you're gonna start going under and over again. And they might turn out a little bit bigger than the finger that you wanted it for, but that's gonna be okay.
So you can't really go wrong.
No, because it's all your decision on how many times you wrap it or how thick you want your wire. So it's really customizable.
And you could use any color of bead you wanted, or
Yeah.
any type, or even shape.
Yeah.
It's the whole that's important.
Yeah, but for beginners, I recommend doing a round bead because like letter beads, like the square ones, and more flat beads, they're a lot harder to wrap around, and they get in the way a lot more. So when you're doing this side, you're just going to try and make sure that it's as even as you can with your wrapping. And you really can use any color of wire. I just chose to use silver.
Now, do you ever wrap all the way around?
I personally don't, but you can.
Okay.
So I'm getting close to the even point. And then also, this can be used like if it's like raised more in one spot, you can clamp it down a little more to make it a little more even. Okay, so now I'm at a pretty even point. So I am just going to cut right here using my cutting pliers. And set these aside. And you're just going to do the exact same thing that you did on the other side. Just clamp it down, and if it ends up getting more oval than circle, you can just squish it a little. And then you
It
might...
just kinda stays. You don't have to glue it or anything.
Nope, no glue is necessary. And you really don't need any glue to keep it down. You just have to make sure that you clamp it tightly so that it doesn't come undone.
Very nice.
But that is the finished product.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you for watching.